everybody to today's training. Today we're going to go over the basic thought shutout technique. My name is T. Levon Lawrence. I am a neurosculpting certified mental fitness trainer, mental fitness instructor, and business consultant. I'm the author of the Brain Fitness blog at neurosculpting.com, and I'm the host of the Mental Power Hour radio show that we have on blogtalkradio.com. The benefits of mastering this technique are fourfold. We have 4 measures of success. The first measure of success is skills acquisition based on your baseline measurements. How good are you at this technique, and are you becoming better? When you are able to track yourself and know that you are doing better at the technique, you know that you are succeeding. Also, what kind of knowledge are you gaining as a result of engaging in these mental fitness training sessions? Are you beginning to understand more about the way your mind works, about your habits of thought and attention? Are you beginning to understand that you can have an absolute proactive effect at any given moment you wish to be able to direct and control your own attention, to be able to creatively affect and control your own thoughts, to actually impact your own emotions, to totally build a new positive emotional life that supports your objectives, everything that you want to achieve? Do you understand that you don't have to obey the conditioned impulses that arise in your central nervous system, that you can establish new impulses or simply act in accordance to your own sincere will? This is the kind of knowledge that you can acquire by going through your mental training sessions. Symptom reductions based on your self-assessment. When you conduct your self-assessments and you figure out that you have certain problems because of a lack of cognitive control skills or weakness in areas of cognitive control skill, weakness in areas of attention control, thought control, emotional management, that sort of thing. When you find out that you have symptoms in that area and you train yourself and you notice that these symptoms are beginning to reduce, that's when you know you are succeeding. And finally, practical application based on your life goals. Are you able to transfer what you are learning because of your training to every area of your daily life? When you're able to see changes in your daily life because of your training, you know that you're succeeding. And much of the time, you have to consciously apply what you learn in order to get better results. And it's not difficult. Finally, there are mental, physical, spiritual, social, and financial benefits to mastering these techniques, especially this one, the basic thought shutout technique. You can become more productive. You can shut down and shut out negative thinking that would keep you from performing your best. You can keep yourself from being distracted and be able to be more productive than other people around you. You can actually move in a straight line to be able to achieve your goals. There are numerous benefits to mastering this technique. And of course, before you start any training session, you want to do a preparatory statement. Nobody is so good at mental fitness training that they don't have to get themselves ready for it. You want to get yourself ready for it. And of course, you can log into the Mental Fitness Training Studio and go through the training modules on building your preparatory statement. But just as an overview, when you write your preparatory statement that you'll use before every training session, it consists of 4 parts. The first part is you are declaring that this is your time. You have set aside exclusive time to conduct this technique. This is your mind. You have the right and authority to train yourself to get your mind to obey your command. You shall tolerate no interference during the entire training session. You're not interested in the mindless activity going on in your brain. The self-talk, the inner dialogue, the random and chaotic and unwanted thoughts, none of that stuff is of any interest to you, and you're not going to tolerate it. You're also not going to tolerate disturbances from outside in your environment. And finally, nothing is as important as the training session you're about to engage in. Again, log into the studio, Take a look at the training modules that talk about preparatory statements. Write your own, memorize it if you can, and use it before every training session. And remember, those preparatory statements are excellent subconscious programming tools to help you be able to transfer the principles of the statement itself to other areas of your life. So, let's talk about the basic thought shutout technique. We now explore a very rare ability, when you think about it, that you may not have even suspected you possess. And that is your natural, entirely natural power to shut out and shut down any train of thought occurring in your mind whenever you want to do it. And I know that when you begin this type of training, you will find it frustrating to do so. But just because it's frustrating in the beginning does not mean you don't have the ability to do it. You have the capacity to do it because you are a human being. You are genetically endowed to be able to control thought. You can interfere with thought. You can displace thought. You can break it up. You can slow it down. And you have the ability to bring thought to a standstill. This is your power whenever you wish, but you've got to train yourself. Again, it's rare because most people don't grow up and they're not taught to train their minds. Not in this way. Most people just go to school, learn a few things, get a job, maybe get a hobby, make a little money, buy a house, buy a car, get married, have kids, all that stuff. Rarely will you find a human being whose main priority in life is to improve their lives by literally directly training their own mind. And that's what you're doing here. You're doing something that mental masters have done throughout history for thousands of years. It's now a part of your life. So, in this, you're going to be using something we call the psychological power of displacement. Displacement is one of the three ways you can affect thought. You can literally interfere with thought. You can allow thought to fade away by controlling your attention, and you can displace thought by engaging in an activity that literally reallocates your mental resources and takes them away from the thinking process and moves those resources to whatever you command your brain to do. The category of this exercise is intellectual, and it's also an attention control exercise because you're going to be using your attention not only as a tool, but as a target. Now, here are some areas you're going to improve on in your mental training as a result of practicing this technique. You're going to get greater mastery of attention control. You're going to get greater mastery of thought control. You're going to get greater mastery of impulse control. And you're going to build the kind of mental resolve that directly transfers not only to the improvement of your cognitive control skills, but to the improvement of performance in every area of your life. When you build this kind of mental resolve, the kind of resolve you're going to need in order to successfully and effectively carry out this technique, when you build that kind of mental resolve, it is a mental habit that will put you well beyond average performance, well beyond the average population. Now, we like to refer to your attention in a way that we call it an attention bubble. That's how we like to describe it. We also like to use the term that you have a camera lens of attention, to where you can operate your mind as you would a camera. You can direct your mind onto any target. You can zoom in and you can broaden it out panoramically. Now, your perceptual focus is dependent on what you're doing with that camera lens, what you're doing with that attention bubble, because you will only consciously perceive with within the limits of that bubble itself, within the limits of that lens. That is your area of clarity, that you understand, that consciously what you can actually know is going on. Your perceptual focus, the way you're going to operate the camera of your attention, the camera of your consciousness, the lens of your being, is close up. You're going to zoom in onto thought itself, and you're going to zoom in onto attention itself. You're not only going to be using attention, you're going to be learning the nature of attention, something we call meta-attention, when you pay attention to attention. Now, whenever you're doing these types of mental exercises, it's like being in the gym. It's like going to exercise at a workout facility. You're going to be engaging in certain types of mental exertion. The types of mental exertion you're going to use here are attention directing. You're going to be telling your attention what to do, not literally telling it. You're going to command it by effort of will. You're going to point it where you want it to go. You're going to put it to work. You're going to be holding your attention. It's not only as though you're lifting a weight, but you're holding that weight. You're flexing your mental muscle. You're holding attention onto not only thought, but again, onto attention itself. Now, the level of application for this particular technique is task concentration. You're going to get better at staying on task, at putting your mind to work for getting something done, but also you're going to learn more about yourself. You're going to be delving into self-concentration. You're going to be doing things that will teach you more about yourself than most human beings ever learn in a lifetime. Most people imagine that they know themselves when all they really know is what their thoughts tell them. They don't truly know themselves because they don't get beyond what their thoughts tell them. You're going to learn more about yourself, and as a result, you're going to know far more about other people than they even know about themselves. It's an amazing benefit of this technique. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need some privacy, and you're going to need some quiet. This is not so much a technique that you can do in a public place until you've gotten really good at it. If you try this in a public place, you're really going to run into some frustration. Find a place where you can be alone and undisturbed. Use your training tracker. Make sure you log into the studio, download your mental exercise training tracker, because that's how you're going to keep track of your times, your session, take notes about your experiences and what you're learning, and come up with ideas on how to apply these things to your daily life. You're going to need a timer or a stopwatch with an alarm to notify you of session completion. When you first begin this technique, if you wish to do a baseline so that you can measure how well you do it, you may go ahead and conduct the technique, and whenever you lose track or become distracted, you realize it, stop the timer, and write down the amount of time you estimate you were able to do it successfully. Do that 3 times in a row, add the times together, and divide by 3. That is your baseline time. A month later, after you've been practicing this technique, you can re-baseline your time to see how much you've improved. Now, your objective, if you're baselining, is to break through the 5-minute barrier. Anything 5 minutes or less, you're in the weak cognitive skills performance category. You want to break that and get at least into the moderate category of 6 to 10 minutes. The closer you get to 10 minutes, the more powerfully you are using your mind, and the more powerful your cognitive control skills, and the better you can apply them to your daily life for greater benefit. Of course, when you break the 10-minute barrier, you are in the strong mental performance category, the strong category. And then you can truly begin to realize benefits. Now, if you've already baselined, you don't need to baseline every single day. You can do it, say, every few weeks or once a month, or however you want to lay it out. But if you're not baselining, then you can just set your timer for the duration of your session. For instance, if you want to do 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just set your timer to notify you that the session is over. Now, the other thing is, you should be making this your top priority. Mental fitness training should be your top priority of your day because it affects everything. It affects how much money you make, how well you do in your career, in your business, how well you manage others, how well you get along with others, how happy you can be in life. So you want to make sure that if you're doing mental fitness training, it has to be your top priority. And if it's your top priority, it should be a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes a day. If you're doing, so far as I'm concerned, if you're training for less than 45 minutes a day, you're robbing from yourself. You're literally stealing from yourself. So, to begin the technique, you're going to start your timer, and by sheer intensity of effort, you're going to drive every thought image, and all mental chatter and internal dialogue and self-talk out of your mind. You're going to shut it down by effort of will, and you're going to keep your mind a blank slate for as long as your endurance can hold out. Like I told you, this is like going to the gym and lifting a weight. You're about to press your own mind to shut down all ongoing thought, internal dialogue, and self-talk, and other mental chatter. You just shut it down and shut it out. People ask, well, I don't understand what you mean. Just do it. You don't have to understand. Just make it happen. Because here, I'm going to tell you why. You've got naturally available assistance in that the process of turning your attention onto itself, as you are doing when you do this, when you're attempting to enforce quietness, that attempt is a thought-displacing activity. Whenever you turn attention onto attention, that's kicking in the law of displacement. Displacement is one of three ways to affect thought, because the resources of your brain become detached from thought-based activity and become reallocated and repurposed in order to effectively conduct the exercise you're engaging in. Whenever you turn your attention onto the work of attention itself, it's like pulling the plug on thought. Thought begins to lose power. You are now displacing the activity of thought with the activity of directing and holding attention. Now, one of the ways that you're going to really help yourself is that you make sure you are more interested in the experience of this than in any thought or any internal dialogue that might arise. Make sure you're more interested in this. That's why you're doing it. That's why you did a preparatory statement. Remember, nothing else is more important than this technique. Make sure you're more interested in the experience of what you're doing right now than you are in any temptation of thought that might tug at your attention. And that's the way it feels when thought and internal dialogue tries to distract you. It feels like it's tugging at your attention. It's tapping you on the shoulder. Hey, let me have some of that attention. I need you to pay attention. I need you to pay attention to me. Never mind the exercise. And your job is to be interested only in the experience of the exercise itself. What does it feel like for you to shut out thought by literally narrowing in on your attention? Grab onto attention itself. Will thought to shut up. Just you can do it. You really can. I remember one thing when I first started out, what I would do, I would literally imagine the experience of silence, and I would zoom in on silence. It wasn't a thought. There was no actual thought. It was just, I would bring up silence. I would command it silently. It would require me to attend to the effort of silence, of shutting out all noise. And it would be like immersing myself in a vacuum of silence, and thought could not penetrate. Now, the psychological effect of this is seemingly like standing up in a loud, boisterous audience and motioning everybody there to shut up and pay attention. It's like standing up in a crowd and going, shh. Now, the sudden silence that results might at first be shocking to you, because you may never have done anything like this before. Itself, it might result in a new round of thoughts remarking on the incident. In reaction to what you experienced, new thoughts might try to pop up to get your attention, to make commentary on what you're doing. But your task is to similarly shut those thoughts out also, over and over again during the entire session. No matter how many times thought tries to tap you on the shoulder, your job is to shut it up and shut it out, shut it down. Silence is your only interest. The end result of this over time is that you'll note a longer and longer period of silence between the emergence of mental noise, as well as an increasingly easier time at commanding thought to hold still. It gets easier with time, and the number of times you have to tell thought to shut up, will it to shut down, you'll find that it spreads out. You'll have longer periods of silence. Now, tracking your progress, when you find yourself unable to successfully keep the peace because thoughts simply overwhelm you, stop the timer and note how long you were able to successfully keep your mind blank. That's if you're baselining. If you're not baselining, just carry on. Don't stop. If you find yourself overwhelmed, not a problem. Take a breath and jump right back in it. Remember, you're looking to build mental endurance, and you're looking to really fortify your mental resolve. You're not going to surrender. You're going to persist. Practice resolve. Persist with your effort for the duration of the training session, regardless of your results. It doesn't matter how many times you seem to fail at this, you keep going. Frustrated? Whoop-de-doo. Your frustration is not your attention target. Brush aside frustration. Frustration is merely another face of distraction. It's your brain trying to get in and break up the session. Do not participate. Shut down frustration. Shut down all thought, all internal conversation. Remember your preparatory statement. You will tolerate no interference, and this is the most important thing in the world. So practice and build resolve. And again, as you build this kind of mental resolve, it is directly applicable to your career, to your business, to your ability to be productive and make money, to your ability to be strong in the presence of other people socially, to your ability to never ever again be intimidated by another human being, to your ability to shut out distractions in your life and focus only on what's most important. Resolve, mental control, the expression of will through the control and mastery of attention. Now, again, if you encounter mental resistance, You're going to go back to your target always, unless you're baselining. Now, if you're baselining, you're going to stop your timer if you're overwhelmed and note how long you're able to successfully do it. But if you're not baselining, just keep going. There are 4 things that are going to interfere with you. 1, wandering attention onto thoughts. If you surrender your attention, thoughts are going to take it over. You don't want that to happen. Remember, your job is to shut out all thought. Remember your purpose. Remember your preparatory statement. Another form of mental resistance is your attention might wander onto external distractions. Now, you know that is a big no-no. Big no-no. We do not let external distractions disturb us during training sessions. That's why you are to find a place that's quiet where you will not be disturbed. And if there is an external distraction, your only mission is to ignore it and simply stay on target. Impulsivity, the desire to move around. Your body's either got too much energy or simply you've not practiced the ability to be still and be quiet. Again, your target is most important. It doesn't matter what your body may want to do. It wants to fidget and move around. Big deal. You stay on target. Your body will begin to obey your command. Mental and physical fatigue. Now, this is a testing technique. It will drain you after a while, but if you're taking care of your body, if you're in excellent physical health, if you're eating brain-friendly foods, if you're getting plenty of physical exercise, which supports your mental exercise training regimens, if you're taking care of your body, you will not have to suffer so much mental or physical fatigue. Remember, your brain is part of your body. And again, remember, when it comes to overcoming mental resistance, your target is your target. Your frustration is not a target. Trying to deal with frustration is not a target. Talking to yourself is not a target. Wandering thoughts is not a target. External distractions, not your target. Your target is your target, and your target is shutting down thought, because silence is the only thing you're interested in. Now, how do you know you're fully distracted? When you totally forget, even briefly, what you're supposed to be doing because your attention has been completely hijacked by a thought for more than a few seconds, that's fully distracted. When something outside in your external environment or outside the building you're in or wherever interrupts your attention for more than a brief moment, causing you to completely detach your attention from the task itself, meaning you've completely dropped the training task and are fully attending to the interruption, that's fully distracted. Now, not fully distracted means you're still on the technique. You have not forgotten. You are doing it. You have not let go of your target. Distractions exist, but you haven't let go. You're still on it. You can sense and perceive the distractions. You can perceive the noise going on outside. You can perceive that there are thoughts, that there might be inner dialogue going on inside yourself, but you're not participating in it. It's just your brain doing its mechanical, automated thing. Got nothing to do with you. It's like the difference in being caught in a thunderstorm and observing a thunderstorm off in the distance. If you're on target, the thunderstorm is off in the distance. If you lose target, you're in the thunderstorm. Now, make sure you take effective training notes by using your training tracker. You want to be able to, you can also use a journal if you want to. Make sure you put down the date, the time, the amount of time you spent on the technique, and of course the technique itself. You want to make sure you note any obstacles you encounter. You want to note down how you overcame them, because you want to use that again in the future. And of course, you also want to be able to use the lessons of overcoming those distractions in other areas of your daily life. If you were able to shut out thought in the training session, you should be able to shut out thoughts at work Or when in social situations, when negative commentary starts to come up in your brain in response to being around people who may intimidate you, or who you may be afraid of, or people who you're worried about impressing. When those thoughts start to pop up, you should be able to shut that nonsense down, control your attention, exert your will in the moment, be that powerful person you can be. So that's why you take effective training notes, especially on how you overcame these distractions, so that you can use this and apply this to your daily life. And you want to know, hey, come up with ideas. What does it mean? How can this lesson be applied to my daily life? That's what your training tracker is for. And of course, you log in and you can download your session training tracker. You see there, you got the date, the time you started, the total time you expended, the category technique it is, the technique itself, what kind of mental resistance you encountered, how you overcame it, and then there's your personal notes where you can figure out, okay, here's what I experienced. What does it mean? Now, what does this mean for the rest of my life? What can I do with this? And believe me, if you can't figure it out, if you're taking proper notes, but you still can't figure out what it means and how it applies, contact me. Let me know. Trainer@neurosculpting.com. I'll help you be able to apply this stuff.